Mexican cartels control over 30% of global drug trafficking and generate between $19 and $29 billion a year. Everyone who ever reached the top of this pyramid started from the same place: dust under their feet and empty pockets. Level 1. Halcon. You live in Apatzingan or some dusty barrio on the outskirts of Culiacan. School ended 3 months ago. Not because you dropped out, but because there was no money for the uniform. A friend of a friend's older brother passes along an offer. Stand on the corner and whistle when you see an unfamiliar car or federal cops. Nothing more. Just stand and watch. You get paid 500 pesos a week. More than your father brings home in 3 days on a construction site. Your job is called Halcon, the Hawk. You are the eyes of the street. You memorize license plates, memorize faces, learn to read people's behavior the way other kids learn multiplication tables. Your phone is cheap, 1 SIM card, swapped out every 2 weeks. You don't know who you're working for. They tell you, that's better for you. And you agree, because it is. The risk is almost zero. Nobody's going to lock you up for just standing there. But one day, a black pickup rolls by. The window comes down, and you're told to get in. Not asked. Told. And you get in. You thought it was just a side job. But the first car you ever got into took you further than you could have imagined. Level 2. Puntero. They noticed you. You're quiet, observant, and don't talk more than you have to, and that's rare. Now you're a puntero. You mark locations, run surveillance, sometimes shadow shipments on a motorcycle as a ghost. Pay has gone up to 3,000 to 5,000 pesos a week. You rented a room away from your family. Officially, you say you work at a warehouse. Your duties are concrete. Know when the police are coming. Know which cafe the rival cell commander frequents. Know the routes and the schedules. You keep records in your head, never on paper. The first real fear comes when one of the halcones from your block disappears. Just vanishes. No one explains. You understand the explanation without words. You begin to realize that a mistake here isn't a warning. But the money arrives on time, every Friday, and there's a strange reliability in that. More reliable than anything in your former life. You learn not to ask questions. But the higher you look, the more questions form on their own. And one day, you realize you want to go there. Level 3. Sicario. This is the transition that changes everything. You're given your first real assignment, not surveillance, action. They drive you to a house on the outskirts of town. Other guys about your age are already there. A short briefing, then a long wait in the dark of the car. The gun is heavier than you thought. Not physically, differently. When it's over, there's nothing inside you. Not fear, not pain, just emptiness. That scares you more than anything else. Now you're a soldado, a fighter. Fixed pay, between 8,000 and 15,000 pesos a week, plus bonuses for specific operations. For a serious job, 50,000 pesos up front. Your duties: guarding distribution points, escorting large shipments, participating in confrontations with rivals, and occasionally working specific targets. You learn from the inside how product moves. The primary load comes in bricks, wrapped in industrial plastic and soaked in motor oil, to mask the smell at checkpoints. Your comandante is young, 28, wears a gold chain, and never raises his voice. That is the most frightening thing about him. The main risk now is being killed by your own side if you fail an operation, or by the other side if you're in the wrong place. The police are a secondary threat. Most of them are on the same payroll as you. You thought you'd become part of the system, but you only became disposable material with a slightly higher price tag. The difference will come later, if you survive. Level 4. Jefe de Plaza. A few years of work and the right connections push you up to Jefe de Plaza. You now have your own territory, a neighborhood, a small town, sometimes an entire municipality. You're responsible for everything that happens on it: the distribution points, the collection of quota, the tax levied on local businesses, settling internal conflicts and defending the perimeter from outsiders. Income is no longer fixed. You take a percentage. A set share goes up the chain from your territory. Everything else is yours. In a good location, that's 200,000 to 500,000 pesos a month. You buy 2 pickups, rent a decent house, start thinking about going legitimate. Under you work 15 to 40 people. Halcones, soldados, drivers, a few corrupt municipal cops on salary. You hold meetings, settle disputes, and sometimes order executions. Not personally. That was the last level. Now you give the orders. The first time is hard, then easier. Then it's just procedure. The main threat now isn't a bullet. It's betrayal. Tips to federal authorities, tricyon from within, and aggression from neighboring plazas that always want what's yours. You stop eating at the same place twice in a row. You gained power over people. But you noticed something important. The more power you have, the less freedom you have. The real decisions are made somewhere above, and you want to go there. Level 5. Coordinador Regional. You no longer go on operations. You coordinate. Several jefes de plaza report to you. You manage the logistics chain, receiving large shipments from suppliers, distributing them across territories, collecting reports to send upward. Your personal income is no longer cash in a bag. It's wire transfers through shell companies, cash run through currency exchanges, real estate investments through nominee owners. The actual monthly flow is between 2 and 5 million pesos, part of which settles into legitimate assets. You open car washes, cafes, small construction firms. This is called lavado, laundering. The scheme is simple. Pay employees who don't exist in cash, run phantom revenue through the register, pay taxes on fictional profit. The government gets its cut. You get clean money. Your main tools now are a phone and trusted people. At this level, what protects you isn't the number of soldiers you have. It's connections. Prosecutors whose election campaigns you funded, federal officers on permanent retainer, politicians who don't know your real name but know the account number. Paranoia becomes a professional skill. You change phones every 10 days. You have 3 separate identities with documentation. You thought that once you reached this level, the fear would go away. It didn't. It just got quieter, more professional. And that's exactly why you no longer trust it. Level 6. Leader. There is no ceremony. No moment when they hand you the crown. One day you simply realize that the people you used to report to no longer exist. They were killed, arrested, or fled, and now everyone is looking at you. You are the capo. Your organization is a multi-layered corporation with horizontal networks, competitive intelligence, and international partners in Colombia, the Balkans, and Southeast Asia. You personally don't know 90% of the people working for you, and that's correct. Your financial flows pass through 3 countries, 2 offshore jurisdictions, and a legitimate construction holding registered in the name of a distant female relative. Between $50 and $200 million move through your structure each month, depending on the season and conditions on the routes. Of that, your personal share is a few million. The rest is operational costs, payments down the hierarchy, bribes, logistics. You live in a house with no registered address. You travel in a convoy of 4 vehicles. You don't appear in public. Your former partners are either dead or in American prisons under extradition agreements. You don't sleep more than 4 hours at a stretch. Not because you can't, but because you don't allow yourself to. In sleep, there is no control. And without control, you're dead. At night, when the guards are dozing outside and only the generator hums in the dark, you sometimes look out the window at the dusty street below. And you see yourself down there, 14 years old, in cheap sneakers, standing on the corner watching cars. That boy wanted only 500 pesos and a little more respect than life was offering. You gave him everything he wanted, and took everything else away. You have money you can't spend openly. Power you can't speak about out loud. People willing to die for you, and you're not sure there's a single one who would do it for anything other than money. You've reached the top of a system with no exit. Nobody retires here. Either you get arrested with fanfare on every news channel in the world, or you're found in a car on a back road, or you disappear on your own, change your face, your country, your name, and spend the rest of your life as a ghost of your own past. The boy from the corner survived, but the man he was supposed to become did not. Want to know how other cartels and syndicates are structured from the inside? Subscribe.